And we made it. We made it for another one. Thank you so much, Facebook fam, YouTube fam. We are here for another stream. I'm sort of looking over here at the people already in. Thank you for showing up. Let's see here. I want to give some shouts real quick. I see right here. Happy almost Friday. Yeah. We call it Friday Eve where I'm from. Nice to see you here, Cass. Blind Guy, always here and supporting. Hope you guys decide to jump in. Patrice is in the house. Greetings and salutations. Vaughn, appreciate you. Always supporting, always here when you can. Let's see here. Adangbe. And if I forgot how to say your name, don't get too bad. Don't get too mad at me. But hey, I'm glad you're here. Private Nobody. You know what, Private? You're going to be ready for this one because I'm going back to a topic that we just talked about. Let's see here. Friendsgiving. Beautiful Lies. Lady Die. Man, I'm so happy y'all here to kind of jump in. You guys know I'm brand new, and as you see, I'm trying new things here. This is only my maybe 4th or 5th stream, and as a new YouTuber, I am definitely looking to try out different ways to reach you. My goal is always to give you value, and it's just good to see that you guys are here to support and participate, and even help create the value with sort of what we're talking about. Jill Williams, thank you for showing up. Appreciate you. So I'm gonna jump right in because I'm excited about what's going on. As you know from the thumbnail, I want to welcome you to this new show called Objections. Objections is a new one-on-one debate show about important topics that affect our lives and hot topics that help to make our lives interesting. So we want to cover a little bit of everything. I see Lady Di is asking about how can we donate. Thank you for asking that. I got to get the banner up. What I would do is I will post this right here. Being able, thanks for asking, because as always, donating is showing that you support not only the show, you see that it's bringing value to your life. And I want to continue, of course, to do these. So it only helps me. So thank you for asking. Got the scroll up there. So you can, if you decide, you can donate. Over the top WME, fam in the house. Thank you for coming on in. And hopefully you're going to get something out of this. Now, let me tell you, Objections is a collaboration. I've developed this show with another YouTuber, and she will be my one-on-one debate colleague. She's a fellow YouTuber. Her name is On the Block with Jen. And I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. You guys will see why to partner with her for the show. Let me go ahead and bring her in right now. Jen!
Hi!
How you doing?
I'm really good. I'm excited about this show. And I'm hoping that people come in and participate and object if they don't agree with my or your opinions. I'm just really excited, happy to be here, ready to get started.
Oh yeah, me too. And this is going to be some good stuff right here.
And hello to everyone in the chat. Thank you for tuning in. Whether you have reservations or not. Hello.
See, and here's the thing. Well, we'll go into a couple things. Now, let me just talk about the show a little bit. We're, of course, going to approach all debate topics from our own perspectives. So now really is a good time to introduce or even reintroduce ourselves so everyone has a general frame of reference about who we are and where we're coming from. So to reintroduce myself to most of you, since most of you are already follow my channel, I'm Frank Gooden. I'm an Emmy Award-winning independent filmmaker. I'm a professor at the University of North Florida. I'm a proud father of 2 daughters, 11 and 9 years old. I'm clearly a Black man, as you can see, but don't assume things about me just based on my race and my gender. Because if you do that, you'll be making a mistake. As you get to know me, you'll find that among other things, I'm principled, I'm direct, I'm clear thinking with a predisposition towards arriving to the truth of things. So that's just a little bit about me. Jen, I'm going to throw it to you. Please introduce yourself.
Okay, I am Jen, On the Block with Jen. I act, I also write. And as far as who I am, I'll let you guys decide, because I can sit here and read my bio too. You're still going to make your opinions at the end of the day. And I prefer it that way, quite honestly. And also, I don't mind. I'm very straightforward. I'm known to be very blunt. A lot of people don't take to my opinions, and that's fine. I just ask that you disagree respectfully, as I will do with you. And that's about it. Enjoy the show, guys. I'm really happy you're here.
All right. Really, and that makes two of us. Now, you know what? What I want to do is I want to talk about the format of the show and then go over some housekeeping before we jump in. The format of the show, we proceed topic by topic. All right. So for each topic, we're going to have two segments. In the first segment of each topic, Jen and I will express our opinions and have a short debate on points where we disagree. In the second segment of each topic, if you out in the chat have an objection to any points from either of us, we bring you on and we give you time to present your case and debate back and forth with one or both of us. So have your points ready. We do want to hear from you. Now, when we feel like we've thoroughly explored a topic, then we do put it to bed so we can move on to a new one and then do everything all over again. All right, now I want to get to this housekeeping part because I think it's really, really important. I want to take just a little bit of time to kind of express some things. I kind of call this housekeeping. The purpose of this show is to provide information that can either help you or inspire you. Now, we're doing it in a debate format. We're not up here, and our purpose isn't just to debate and argue back and forth just to keep up drama or just for the heck of it. That's really not our purpose. Now, we can and we will have fun, and we want to have fun. We want to sprinkle in fun topics, and we want to have like a lively debate and a spirited debate. But the core of this show involves giving you new perspectives to learn and possibly grow from. And we do that by sharing our perspectives and debating where we disagree, and then inviting you to do the same thing. You know, part of my job is to convince you that I'm right, because I am right. And if everybody thought like me, this world would be a better place, right? Now, here's the thing. This is how we all think. This is how every one of us, most of us think that we're right about just about everything. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's the point of having a debate show like this, is that we communicate. That's what debating is. It's all about communicating and listening. And if we do both of those things, you know, listen with intent to understand and then respond, and not just listen with the intent to retort, then we give ourselves the possibility to learn and grow. And so for me, I just want to take the time to really kind of point that out. That's really fundamental that we at least try to do these things. Now, here's the thing. In order to debate, in order to give ourselves the opportunity to communicate and listen and have the chance to learn and grow, people, you know this, we must have respect. We have to have a respectful environment. A respectful environment is edifying. It gives us the potential to grow. A disrespectful environment is dangerous at best, and it's poisonous at worst. And we see that, and we know how these YouTube streets are. We're in and out of these environments all the time, and that's what happens. Dangerous meaning we feel kind of shift, you know, we hesitate. We wonder whether or not we should even come on and say something, because there's somebody else going to come at you and say something disrespectful. Poisonous at worst, meaning the environment turns into a negative one, and we see situations like we've seen on other channels and other situations where it devolves into something where it's just nothing but attacking. All right, so we don't want that. So I'm going to be very diligent about maintaining a respectful environment here on my channel. And because it's my channel, that makes me the arbiter. I'm the one that makes that final decision of whether or not something's been disrespectful. Now, those who know me already, you already know that I'm fair. And those who don't know me yet, you're going to see that I do approach things in a very fair manner. If I think that you're being disrespectful, I will say something. If I see it in the chat, I'm going to say something. If you say it up here in the panel, I'm going to say something. Now, I may warn you at first, or I might time you out. I might mute you. I might even block you if necessary. But I just have to let you know I'm going to be diligent about maintaining our respectful space here, because I know how important it is. You know, this notion of respect is really almost everything in a debate environment like this. So I don't want to preach and I don't get off this high horse, but I just want to say that said, bring your passion, bring it. Bring the heat, bring the fire, bring your emotion, and express yourself with all that you are. Bring it all. Just monitor yourself. Don't cross the line into being disrespectful, because all of that is a part of the debate. The passion, the heat, the fire, the emotion, that's a part of it. And we want that. If we do that, I think we're all going to have fun. We're going to all learn from each other. We're going to have spirited conversations. And I think it's going to be a positive thing for everybody. Jen, before we dive in, anything you want to add to that, or say anything before we dive in?
I'm good. I'm good if you're good.
Okay, I'm good. Chat, type of 1, let me know. Are you guys ready? You guys understand where we're coming from?
You addressed everything, so I don't want to be redundant. Let's just get it on.
Let's go. Okay, I'm waiting on the chat. I'm thinking the chat's going to be ready too. They don't want to hear me preach. Yeah, here come the ones before the billions. Yeah. Okay, so let me throw something up here real quick. All right. Yeah, I see the ones. All right, guys, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to dive in. Our first debate topic is something that, if you were here for my last stream, we talked about this a little bit from a slightly different angle. And I'm not going to do this all the time, okay? Just to let you know, but I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to hit this topic because it hits really close to home for me in Florida. I'm in Jacksonville. You see this background that you see on my green screen, that's Jacksonville. And this topic hits really, really home for me. And I think it's really important for everyone. So we're going to hit this one more time. Jen and I are going to get into a debate about it. I'm going to let you guys jump in, and then maybe I'll step away from it for a little while. But it's huge. And that is, should COVID vaccines be mandated? Okay, we talked about this from the perspective of should masks be something that everybody does, but now it's all about the vaccines themselves. So let me bring this right on up for us. And as the host, I am going to always give my guest to my channel, my partner, the opportunity to choose whether or not she wants to dive in first, or does she want me to handle it? What you think?
Go ahead, go ahead and take it.
See, I can't get a drink in. See, I'm gonna go ahead and go. I'm doing all the talking right now. Okay. All right. So, let's see here. This is kind of interesting. You guys already know where I'm sitting when it comes to vaccines. I take them seriously. I'm taking COVID seriously, and not to say that other people are not, but for me, when it comes to formulating an argument here, I don't think I have to work too hard to formulate an argument because I think the numbers speak for themselves. I think the facts speak for themselves. So to answer the question flat out, I'm going to say yes. I do think the COVID vaccine should be mandated. I think it should be mandated. Now, the question is how, all right? But before I get to the how, in terms of the approach, let me present a little bit of my case about the situation, the facts of the situation. I just checked. I did a little bit of research before I came on. And as of right now, these are kind of approximate numbers. But looking at the numbers right now, 39% of the world population has received at least one dose of a COVID-19 vaccine. That is 5.38 billion doses has been administered globally, and 41 million doses are now administered approximately every single day. All right. So when we talk about those numbers, let's see here, and I want to pull something up. I think I'm going to go ahead and do it when I get to talking about this country. But we have almost 9 billion people that walk the planet. Okay, 5.38 billion doses. All right, and so I don't have those specific numbers on how many. Some of these doses are double dose complete, vaccination programs. So we'd have to really try to break down those numbers on how many total people. But I do have the numbers, and I'm going to throw it up here real quick for the United States, and I'm going to read that real quick. Give me just a quick second. Let's do this. Now, I won't do this a whole lot, but I just want us to see some numbers as we go here, and I'll drop this off. In the United States, and this is as of today or yesterday, 371 million doses have been given. 175 million people in this country have been fully vaccinated. That's over half the population. And then you see some numbers about the breakdown of some of the top states. All right. So if half the population have been vaccinated, one of the things that people say as an objection to whether or not we should even take the vaccine is whether or not it's safe. Okay, that's the number. Is it safe? And there's a lot of people who have all kinds of conspiracy theories about whether or not, what are we doing? We might be setting ourselves up for, something really, really horrible. Well, with that many people in this country having taken the vaccine, you would think that we would hear with social media, if it's not going to be reported in the news, you would think that we would get all kinds of reports about how just the vaccine itself is killing people all over. Or if it's not, the vaccine isn't killing people, then it's at least sending people to the hospital. But that's not what's happening right now. We have so many people who have taken it. If you want to say that people are experimenting on us somehow, because that's a kind of a conspiracy theory, then this is like only the largest experiment in the history of mankind with so many people taking the shot. And right now, just from the safety standpoint, and I'll make some other points later, and I can do it now if you want to, but just from a safety standpoint, to me, that argument does not hold water. All right, the vaccine is safe. It's not. Now, when you say safe, that's always relative, because you're going to always have a certain percentage of people who have, adverse reactions to any vaccine. And I won't go into breaking that down yet. I do have the receipts. So if you challenge me, I'm going to pull them. But I'm going to stop here and see if Jen wants to say anything on what I said, or if you want to bring something else to the conversation.
Okay. I like numbers, right? Because I think that media uses numbers to sway opinion, right? They use it for everything. They use it for the vote. They use it for vaccines. They use it for McDonald's, right? Media uses numbers, right? When we look at numbers, I think half of the United States population getting the vaccine it's a great number. I think to think that the entire population is going to get vaccinated is a little silly. I also don't believe in the mandate, because mandates, whenever something is mandated in this government, as you know, people of color always get the worst end of the stick, no matter what the mandate is, right? In New York City, for instance, when they started stop and frisk, right? That's a general law, stop and frisk. Just watch somebody walking down the street and stop and frisk them in case they have a weapon. But as you saw, what happened was they were targeting Black and Latino, right? They weren't targeting, Josh and Julie up in the suburbs. They were targeting us. So I feel real funny about the word mandate, because we always get the short end of the stick. There's also a fear-based system that goes on with numbers, right? They keep throwing at us the numbers of how many people are dying, because it sways opinion, right? But there are so many other diseases and illnesses that are killing us by the hundreds of thousands annually that no one is talking about, right? So we can't diminish or underestimate the power of media. To your point, you said, hey, if people were getting sick and dying, it at least would be on social media. Well, there have been reports on social media, but as you know, again, Facebook and Instagram control the COVID content. That's why people now are posting things without using the entire word vaccine and without using the entire word COVID, because we're being flagged for different things that they say. But I have seen numbers. I've seen about 8,000 to 9,000 deaths after the vaccine. And I know people personally who had the vaccine and are literally right now, one of my good friends is on a ventilator in the hospital with blood clots in his lungs. After he took the vaccine, he is now COVID positive and he's fighting that. So we can't say that, hey, you just take the vaccine, you go on about your business. And some people are going to have some symptoms, but that's okay. It's way more than that, but it's not being reported, because if the agenda is for everyone to get the vaccine, then they're not going to report that. Also, it's a trust thing with me, right? Forget the conspiracy theories. Let's just do with facts. Let's just do with facts. Forget conspiracies, forget the aliens are coming. Let's do with facts.
Right after you hit me with 2 conspiracy theories, but anyway, go ahead.
What was the conspiracy? Which one?
The 1,000. How many people you said actually died? 9,000 people.
8,000 people.
8,000 died.
And this was a while back. So I don't know how many now. But
I'm going to need the receipts, but go ahead.
But here's the thing. Where'd you get your receipt from?
So I go to sources like CDC, the US FDA, and I know people have comments about that. And then, mainstream media sources.
So you trust the CDC?
I do.
You do?
When you ask me that question, I will put the reputation of the CDC up against any random Facebooker or YouTuber who just decide to get on and say whatever they want to say and cite some obscure. I'll put CDC against them anytime, any day.
Okay, now aside from just the average YouTuber or Facebooker or Instagrammer, you trust the CDC. Why? You think they have your best interest in heart as a Black man in America?
I think that the CDC presents information that can be that's upfront, verifiable, and they give you all the information. If you want, while we're talking, I can pull up a CDC link that talks about some of what you just mentioned in terms of people dying from, things like blood clots or, dying from the actual vaccine. And they are that particular CDC website. And while I'm talking, I'll try to do it, bring it up. They went ahead and they'll go ahead and tell you the facts. They tell you. They're not trying to hide anything for you. They give it all. And so for me, that inspires trust. When you state the facts, you put it out there plainly, and then people can go and verify it yourself.
But is the CDC for the vaccine or anti the vaccine?
The CDC obviously over time has become for the vaccine. There was a time when the CDC didn't recommend the vaccine, just like there was a time when the FDA did not approve, the Pfizer vaccine, which is now it's FDA approved.
Okay, but just using common sense. Mm-hmm. If the CDC is for the vaccine, what are the facts you think they're going to spit at you? If I'm for something, right? If I'm for essential water, do you think I'm ever going to talk badly about essential water if I want you to buy it? Just common sense, no conspiracy. I work for the CDC. You think I'm ever going to give you any negative numbers, regarding the COVID? If I'm for the vaccine and I think the vaccine works, why would I do that?
Well, I think the logic is backward. I think that the CDC is for the vaccine because the facts present that the vaccine works. I don't think that the CDC as an organization comes in saying vaccine, 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 this is where we are. And so now this is what we're going to do to support it. I think it's the other way around. I think that the facts are dictating that the CDC is for the vaccine. And so because of that, that's what they tell you.
Okay. Has the CDC reported any number of deaths after the vaccine?
Yeah.
Can you put those numbers up?
Yeah. I'm going to pull up right now.
Okay.
Let's see.
And while you're doing that, I want to talk about the trust issues that people in general have with anything that's mandated or about to be mandated or pushed by our media or the average media, whether it's Fox News or CNN or BET or your favorite rapper. The reason why we have trust issues, everybody always thinks about. I noticed there's always online Tuskegee, right? That's a big one. Everybody's always, Tuskegee. What about Tuskegee? We can't trust the government because of Tuskegee, right? But it goes so far beyond Tuskegee. There have been so many experiments on record, right?
Mm-hmm.
administered by our government that were medical experiments. It wasn't just Tuskegee, although Tuskegee was the main one, but there was so many. There was La Operación in Puerto Rico. There's what Bill Gates is doing in Africa. So we have a reason not to trust. We don't know what these people are doing with masses of people of color. We just don't know. We don't have access like other people do. So you really have to consider why we have trust issues when over the decades, they've shown us that we should have trust issues. There have been deaths. There have been, the number one, deaths in childbirth are Black and Latin women. Why is that happening? You know what I mean? It's like we have issues for a reason.
I want to definitely jump in here because we're talking about, and I'm glad you took it here. This question and this notion of who do we trust when it comes to the information? Are these sources, do they have ulterior motives? Are there things that they're hiding? Do they have an agenda? So I think that any critical thinker is going to look at that and think about it. And you have to, you have to consider your sources. Considering the fact that none of us are scientists, and type it in the chat if you're a scientist or you're a bio. I don't know if Rush Ribbons is in here. She went to Harvard for med school. Maybe she's someone who can kind of give us some stuff here. But, I only have a limited amount of expertise to bring to bear on stuff that is being brought to, information that's being shared, whatever the source. And that's the same story for everybody. So we have to turn to some source to trust. If not, then we're not trusting any source. And then my question will be, who do you trust? But on this notion of trusting sources, so you see here, right now, everybody's looking at this CDC, and I'm going to go to the link so I can kind of influence a little bit. This is the CDC website about selected adverse events reported after COVID-19 vaccination, updated today. All right, so we're scrolling down and they're going to give you their summation here. Cool. I'm not necessarily worried too much about that. And let's talk about these adverse situations that the CDC itself is reporting on. And let's talk about some of the percentages. All right, so according to the CDC, anaphylaxis after COVID vaccination is rare. It is occurred in approximately 2 to 5 people per million. 2 to 5 people per million. This is one adverse reaction. Thrombosis. This is the blood clotting issue. More than 14.2 million doses of the Johnson & Johnson was administered, and the CDC and the FDA identified 44 confirmed people of that. So 44 out of 14.2 million doses are confirmed according to them. And then they give you their sites here for they're basically trying to give you their receipts, showing you how you can go and look at the data. You move on down to some other adverse reactions, and they're giving you the specific numbers in the amount per million cases. So if you just go down here and, when we get into the numbers, a lot of times you get into the weeds and a lot of people don't want to look at the numbers. And the numbers are boring. People would rather, if I could tell you a great story about your auntie's baby daddy's uncle who, died from a blood. I'm not talking about you in particular, Jennifer, Jim, but, some story about somebody's uncle, baby daddy's husband's sister who, took a shot and this is what happened. Or they got the shot and they got it anyway and they died and all this. Those stories, for some reason, carry more weight than the actual numbers. When you look at the actual numbers, all vaccines have a certain degree of risk. And so for me, when you ask me, can I trust the CDC and these numbers? I have no reason not to trust them. And I understand when you talk about the Tuskegee experiment and, other areas where we have seen where the government has decided to go in and and basically operate in bad faith, yes, those things happen. But you're going to sit here and give me a situation from 1944 or 1935 or whenever it was about a completely different subject here in 2021 when we're trying to contain a worldwide virus. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm glad you brought up scientists, right? Because that's usually the response. Well, nobody, hey, I'm listening to the scientists. No one here is a scientist. Do we have a doctor in the room, right? Mm-hmm. Online, we've seen both doctors, nurses, and scientists debating each other, okay, about how bad the COVID vaccine is and isn't. So take us scientists out of it. Take us non-scientists out of it, or the ones with the uncle's brother who died from Alabama, but take them out of it. There are literally scientists, doctors and nurses. I've seen nurses on the floor crying in their emergency room, talking about they're misdiagnosing people. They're saying people have the COVID and don't have the COVID. Okay, they have scientists going head to head in boardrooms right now as we speak, saying this is good about it, this is not good about it. It's going to be people. And we also say, it's like, well, don't tell me something about 1940. Every 5 or 10 years, we see the commercial. We all stay up late at night sometimes. If you've been evicted, you took blah, blah, blah. Cycloxin, 10 years ago, then you deserve to be, you deserve to.
I have to ask you this question because you're talking about doctors arguing back and forth. So take a guess, or maybe you do know this. You tell me worldwide, how many doctors, or even you don't have to do worldwide, in this country, how many doctors have actually taken the COVID, any form of any of the COVID-19 vaccines? If you had to guess that percentage, what would you guess it is?
I did kind of scroll by something like that not too long when I heard a lot of doctors aren't taking it.
Well, but did you get an actual percentage of the total number of doctors in this country who have taken the vaccine?
I don't want to lie. I have no idea.
Well, I have, and that number is 90%.
I don't believe it.
Okay, see, and so now we have to check the receipts. I could pull it up. 90% of the doctors have actually taken this vaccine. Now, a lower percentage, from what I saw, a lower percentage of actual nurses and nurse practitioners have taken it. But I'm talking about the actual doctors. It's like 90% or even above. They know what time it is. So this is not a situation where you have, half the doctors support it and half the other doctors don't, and there's this argument going back and forth on whether or not they should take it. No, what you got is whatever, some vocal minority, vast minority of doctors who, for whatever reason, ain't feeling it. They haven't taken it for whatever reason, and arguing with the vast majority of the world who understands the science and says these vaccines are safe and they are effective.
I'll say this. Okay, I will say this. I think as people of color, we have a double whammy. Okay, I think we have a double whammy. I don't think it's as simplistic for us to say, hey, they came out with a vaccine, let's go run out and get it. I always feel like we're more at risk. A lot of us don't have medical insurance. Okay, a lot of us don't have any kind of insurance, right? So if there is a complication, we don't have the funds or the power, okay, or access to the doctors that can save us from half the stuff that can go wrong in this country. I just say, as a person of color, you have to be extra careful, because if there are complications, right, if you were just fine, right, now you got the COVID vaccine, now you have all these, adverse reactions, and what are you going to do about it? Like, what are you going to do about it? We're not really in the position that other people are to mess around like this, right? So I would recommend, to me, gente, make sure your health is up, okay? Make sure you don't smoke cigarettes. And if you do, quit. Do not drink liquor. Work out. Stay healthy. Get your rest. Eliminate the stress from your life, because the most important thing that you can have in your body against disease is your immune system, okay? I cannot put my trust in a lab coat. I've done it before, and I got the big fail for it. Nothing I'm going to talk about right here. But personal experience. So it's not just the cousin, uncle's brother's baby daddy from down the block. It's just that we have to be extra careful as people of color. We can't line up with them other folk. You know what I mean? Because we get the worst of the worst in our neighborhood, right? Like, send this over right now, the abortion ban. What are they saying? That we are not going to have access. People of
I don't want to talk about abortion.
Well, we'll get to that on another show.
So, okay, so allow me to do this then, and we're gonna bring some other people. I just dropped the link. If other people want to jump in, take objection to me or you, hey, Brent, come on, let's do it. Now, but let me pivot and see if I can somehow add this to the argument. So I've just tried to cover the safety of it, but now I want to talk a little bit about the effectiveness of the vaccines. So as we know, all these people, the country got the vaccines, and getting the vaccines are in part of the reason why we were able to open things up and got things under control. Then we had the Delta variant come along. And guess what's happening with the Delta variant? If you're not convinced about the safety, then let's talk about effectiveness. Because if you do the research and you see, you just watch the news, you go to the sites, what you find is that the Delta variant, more than 90%, at least here in this state, in Florida, I think it's like this wherever it is, more than 90% of the people who are being hospitalized with the Delta variant, which is just COVID, another strain, are unvaccinated. They don't have the vaccine. So the people who are filling up the hospitals right now are the people who don't have the vaccine. And we're talking, again, these are hundreds of thousands into the millions when you talk about the country of the people who are actually getting it. The people who have the vaccines aren't the ones in the hospitals. Now, you do have the small minority, you do have that 5 to 10% of people who have gotten the vaccine who are in the hospitals. But the overwhelming majority of the people who are now taking up all these beds in the ICU, right now in Florida, less than 10% of the available ICU beds in this state are available now. Why? Because unvaccinated people have caught the Delta variant, and they're the ones on the ICU bed right now. So my point is, the second part of my point is, if you don't want to trust the safety of it, then how about look at the effectiveness of the vaccine? Us vaccinated, I have 2 shots of the Pfizer, and people like me, we're not going to the hospital. What do you say about that?
I'm sorry, I don't believe it. I think that those numbers were put out to sway fear. Because
I have receipts, but go ahead.
Listen, the president of the United States said the other day, right? It wasn't the other day technically, but he was like, this new Delta variant, this is the pandemic of the unvaccinateds, right? It's like we're an alien population now. It's like, this is the fault of the unvaccinateds. That's why this is going on. And again, it's fear-based. It's like, when you hear that, let's say I'm here and I'm sitting.
I think it's factual. Go ahead.
And you're sitting at home, you're like, I'm not getting the vaccine no matter what, honey. It's not going to happen. And then you hear breaking news. 50% of the people that are filling the hospital beds are not vaccinated. Do you want to die?
I'm all for it.
Right now. That is what's happening right now. You don't want to die, do you?
Yes.
No. I'm not falling for it. It's too fear-based for me. I'm not falling for it. Get your health up would be my advice. But I also think, to each his own. We're talking about, should COVID vaccines be mandated? I don't think anything that has to do with your body should be done by force, right? And if you have a fear of death to that point, then your problem is bigger than COVID, I feel. No one should be that afraid to die, right? People, like I said at the beginning, hundreds and thousands of Americans die every year. And since, people like numbers, I Googled this earlier. Every 30, listen to this number. You want to get scared? Everybody who eats McDonald's to this day, you want to get scared? Everybody who likes our juicy, greasy soul food, right? You want to get scared? Every 36 seconds, while I just said that, someone just died of heart disease. Every 36 seconds, every 24 hours, someone is arranging a funeral for someone who died of heart disease. If you want to be scared, right? Since it's all about numbers. Every 36 seconds, someone dies of heart disease. Why isn't it a mandate that McDonald's stops selling supersized fries? Why isn't it a mandate that there's a Whole Foods in every single neighborhood across America? Why isn't it a mandate? I'll tell you why. Because there's no money in it for them. I'm not doing it. Get
So
you
we disagree. I'm with you. Okay, so we do disagree, and we
vaccine.
All right, we disagree in some fundamental ways. I'm gonna let you have the last word on that for now, because you know what? Let's get some. We got some people that want to join in, and they are actually objecting to one of us. We're gonna find out who it is.
Okay.
And what I want to do is first, I'm gonna bring up Patrice here. Now here's the deal, Patrice. On this show, as you know, I mean, and people probably hating on me already because I got so many rules. I don't like people to cuss. You can't be disrespectful. I got another rule that I'm about to bring up, and that is, and you guys know,
Timer man.
So here's the thing with our guest timers, we want to give you 2 minutes. If you object, then object with whomever you want, and we're going to give you 2 minutes, and then whoever you object to will get a little bit of time to go back and forth with you for a little bit. But you're guaranteed to get your point out, and you're guaranteed to get at least one rebuttal if someone comes back at you. You like that, Patrice?
That's fine.
All right. So your time starts now. I want to hear what you got to say. Who are you objecting to?
Hi, Frank. Hi, Jen.
Hey.
I'm objecting to you, Frank. Of course.
Okay, let me hear. Let me have it.
Well, you know, I am one who just recently got over the Delta variant, and I am not vaccine, nor do I tend to get the vaccine. I never did. I never took flu vaccines or anything of that nature. I haven't had vaccines since I was a kid, where I didn't have any control over that because my parents made me. I had to have them to go to public school system. Just knowing the history of our people has been a big part of the reason why I choose not to get the vaccine. And I just think that, you know, I think when you look at the numbers, more people in the United States have died from the flu. I think our main problem is, especially for people of color, is the history of our diets. And that history goes way back from slavery. The things we ate that caused us to have underlying health conditions now today: high blood pressure, sugar diabetes, heart disease, and things of that nature. So I think Jen's right. If you take care of yourself, you work out, you eat right, you build your immune system up, which is what I did, because when I was diagnosed and went to the doctor, and with my Delta variant, he told me that my immune system was just as strong as somebody that had taken the vaccine. So I said, so why should I have to take the vaccine if it does not prevent me from getting COVID? I can take the vaccine and still get COVID. So I'm just an advocate believer in eating right, being healthy. If you don't have underlying health conditions, you'll be fine.
Okay. So I'm going to push back a little bit. I hear you loud and clear, and you said a lot, but I'm only going to focus on one little part of it, and maybe some others if we want to. The question you asked at the very end was, and I'll go ahead and start it at roughly 60 seconds. The question you asked to me was, why take it if it's not going to stop you? That's a good question. That's a question that a lot of people have. You take it to keep you out of the hospital if you do get it. And what's happening is people have these, for whatever reason, I don't know if they were promoted by the media or if it's some sort of maybe general lack of understanding of vaccines in general, but you don't take this vaccine to keep you from actually getting it. There's a risk with anything. And it's no guarantee that if you take it that you're never going to get COVID. What it does is it prevents or lowers your risk of actually getting it, depending on the situation of where you are when you're potentially exposed. And if you do get it, you deal with it much better so that you don't end up in the hospital. And that's what people need to understand. Like I just mentioned, and I'll end it here. If you catch it and you fight it off and it's no big deal because you had the vaccine, versus the 90% of the people who are taking up the ICU beds because they're being intubated because they haven't had the vaccine, which one would you choose? I'll give you a minute to respond to that.
I'm sorry, repeat that again.
If you had a choice of taking the vaccine, and when you do get COVID, it's just like a cold, you brush it off in a couple of days, versus not taking the vaccine and running the risk of actually having complications so serious that you end up having to be in the hospital because you can't breathe and all the other complications, being intubated, and then being at risk of losing your life. Which one would you choose? My point is that this isn't about whether or not you don't get it from getting the vaccine. It's how you deal with it if you are exposed.
I mean, I would still stand on my word because I don't believe in a vaccine. And even when I did get it, I wasn't hospitalized, and not one time did I think I was going to die. Not one time. That's just, and then, I have an issue with the whole, the way the government is going about it, trying to force. I feel like it's like a dictatorship, like they're trying to force it. You have HIPAA laws that protect us from that. And I feel like that the government is going to override your right to privacy, your right to choose whether or not, if you want to take it or not, just like a woman has a right to choose if she wants to have, keep her baby or not. That's a moral thing for me, right? Like that as well. But I stand on my beliefs, not being someone that has had it. And I believed in, because I eat right for the most part. I work out, I stay healthy, I stay hydrated. I try to do the right thing for myself. I'm a 57-year-old woman. Okay, so and I know what my health and longevity means for me. So that's a lot, being a Black woman in America.
You're right. Okay, so with that, and I'm not gonna mute you. You see it popped up. You ended just in time. With that, what I want to do is throw this to Jen. Look like you got somebody on your team, Jen. If you want to back her up or you want to add some other stuff, you can do that. And before I give it to you, I'm going to say we are allotting an hour for these debates. This has been a live one. We got somebody waiting in the back. I'm not going to have time to bring them on, but I will bring you on first next time. And I'm going to say some things right at the end after Jen's comments. Jen, you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, I same exact thing. I agree 100%. Similar story. I only got vaccinated when I was very young because that's what you needed. You needed the yellow card, you know what I mean, to go to school. I haven't done a flu shot. They push it on me every time I get a physical. I have to talk my way out of. I said I don't want a flu shot. I'm good. I haven't suffered from the flu. I don't catch cold. I just don't. And people may think it's too spiritual or quirky, but I tell myself all the time, I don't get sick. I don't get sick. So I don't get sick. My friends have noticed I don't get sick. They're like, what kind of alien are you? I'm like, I don't get sick. But similar to what she said when she was like, I never thought I was going to die. This was something my body had to go through, and I came out fine. So, similar story. I feel like if it's not broke, don't fix it.
All right. Okay. So y'all done double team me on this one. Looks like Frank might take the L. Here's what I want you to do in the chat. If you agree with Jen, type it in the chat. If you agree with Frank, type it in the chat. We are now at the end of the first hour of the first ever show of Objections. And before I take us off, what I want to say is we're continuing this. The next show is going to be on Jen's channel on the block. So if you like this, and the next show is coming in a half hour, maybe a couple minutes after, we'll see how we want to recover. But the next show is in 30 minutes. Another completely different topic, just as engaging. And I want to see everybody, if you can, go ahead and port right on over to On the Block with Jen. Do we have, can someone look up her channel? I have some mods here. If you don't mind dropping that link in the chat so people can go right over, and let's keep it going. Definitely let us know who you agree with. I might be taking the L. I hate taking L's, especially on my own channel. Especially on my own channel.
You're not going to take the L. People just going to type Frank because they're like, I don't like her.
But this has been awesome. Like I said, I apologize to the people in the back who are waiting. I will bring you up first next time. We just have a format and a structure that we want to follow. Thank you so much in the chat for giving us a chance, being here to go back and forth. And like I said, fundamentally keeping the respect where it needs to be, so this can be something that's positive and beneficial for everybody involved. All right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and take us out. You guys know how I do. Please, as we're rolling the end, definitely take the time to, type in how you feel. I'm not going to end the show exactly. I love to read the notes. I love to read how you guys are feeling it. And you see the support. If you want to cash out or buy me a coffee, feel free to do that. And until next time, I'm out. I'll see you.
Bye.